Welcome back to Atlanta, a birthplace of much of competitive Rocket League, the home of some of the best competitive Rocket League players in North America. Happy to be here. Hey, with DreamHack, we've had some great matches so far. Lawler achieves Fickle, guys. It's been some great games. Lived up to the hype so far for you guys?
Yeah, really excited to see Energy. We got an early game out of them, which I didn't think we were going to get. But yeah, I mean, even talking to the guys in the scrims and stuff, like the matches have been a lot closer than they expected. So I'm excited for going further.
I am disappointed that I forgot when we were interviewing Jacob to bring up the fact that he is from Atlanta. He is from Georgia. This is his home state. He's playing for state honor at this point. He, Garrett G, and Kernovi, all from Georgia. I believe Kernovi is from Atlanta specifically. Yes. So I'm excited to see which of these players actually makes it the furthest playing for in their home state here.
Next time, you'll get him next time. But
next time, yeah, we'll get Jacob on again.
But yeah, for sure, the quality of match, especially that last one, Onslaught really showing up in a nice way. I mean, that game one especially, they really could have taken it. But either way, NRG give a team like that just enough time to adapt, shut them down game two. So I'm ready to see how the rest of the day goes.
Yeah, me too. And the next match we have coming up, Ambition versus Last Airbenders. If you're new to the Rocket League scene, this is going to be entirely new names to you. If you're very, very familiar with the Rocket League scene, there's still going to be a lot of new names here. Ambition made up of Pepiopi, Prime Thunder, and Wonder. Prime Thunder probably the most well-known of those players. That's still a bubble tier player at that point.
It's really interesting for Prime Thunder to be the most well-known because he's definitely the youngest by a lot.
Like yeah, for sure.
Freshly, he's almost 16.
Almost.
I think he's still 15.
Yeah, almost.
And then on the other side, the Last Airbenders, populated by Truty, I think is how that's pronounced.
Trut
Yep.
with the 3.
Trut with a 3. Okay, cool. The 3 is silent. Trut, Sneaky, and Stayfly. So a team of players that most of us have never seen before, going to be going up here against Ambition, a team that, again, made up of bubble players, feeling like this is probably going to be on Ambition's favor here, but still LAN situation, DreamHack Atlanta, anything can happen.
Yeah, the big thing for Ambition, for those that weren't aware, there was a Beyond Entertainment tournament earlier. Was it this week? Earlier this week, or was it last week?
The 18th, yeah.
It was recent. And Ambition is actually the team that knocked out NRG. So they do have a lot of talent. Pepiopi was one of the first players that really developed the bump and demo game. And then he realized how unviable it was to only do that, so he stopped doing that. But when he reverts back to it, it is the most frustrating thing in the world to play against. You don't even get to play, because he'll demo you, move to your spawn, and demo you again on respawn. It's ridiculous.
And if we're really paying attention here, Prime Thunder actually does have LAN experience, as he has played on the stage for PAX East and actually took second with his teammate Nox Phoenix. So I think out of all the players coming up to the stage, he's, like you said, maybe the youngest, but actually the most experienced when it comes to playing on stage.
Well, I mean, Prime Thunder's been a name in the community for a while, especially in the sub conversation of who's going to fill in, kind of there with Buffele as a player who's just always like, oh, we don't have our third. Well, let's get Prime Thunder. Let's get Buffele in here.
Well, he was actually he played SARP, so he's one of the original, I guess, but like being so young, he's almost like that scrub killer age where he was so young when he started, and now when Rocket League is really booming and out, he's still very young.
Yeah. It's very interesting you bring up Pepiopi playing a exclusively demo game at first, which is something we saw very, very early on in Rocket League. You could definitely go back and watch old Gibbs footage to see he was kind of a permanent goalie back in the net, back when everyone was like, let's just try and do one thing and see what happens. Now we've moved to a situation where everything is viable, everybody has to be able to do anything, but demoing arguably one of the more difficult of the fundamental techniques of Rocket League, because it's like hitting the ball, but the ball's running away from you actively, and to try and actually successfully hit it in a way that causes it to explode, you have to hit at a very specific speed. So if he's able to bring that forward, we saw that being a pivotal part of NRG strategy in the last match, could be a big part of Ambition strategy here as well.
Yeah, Ambition's probably just going to be one of those teams that's going to overwhelm them, not only with just offensive playstyle, but the ability to not only carry that into their side, but boost tonight, as well as then add that demo to where it just frees up the open net. So Last Airbenders definitely has a lot under their plate here.
So looking over towards you, Achieves, questions about Last Airbenders, keys to victory here. What do they need to do against Ambition? What's the key fundamental thing they need to focus on right now?
Well, Prime Thunder plays a lot of ones, so I mean, you have to be able to shut him down as he's trying to take the ball out of his own half, and of course, Pepiopi, you have to be able to dodge the demo. So if you're looking to have success, you do have to figure out the answer to those two big questions. I've never seen Wonder play, so I'm curious to see how he does, and also the only player I'm really familiar with in any sense of the word on the Last Airbender side is the Trut guy.
Okay.
Because we've played a lot of Battlegrounds, so it's nice to get him to see back on our home turf of Rocket League.
Fantastic. Any other thoughts about this matchup in particular, Fickle?
Well, Ambition, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, was my team to watch as the dark horse. So I'm actually really expecting them to come out really strong here. And as Lawler mentioned, they did have a really good performance against NRG last week. And I don't know, I feel like it might be their time to really show up when it really matters.
Awesome. So a victory here from either of these teams would definitely help cement them into moving forward into the next portion of the bracket. I feel like we're all going to be predicting Ambition on this one, but just more thoughts on the tournament, on the play we've seen so far. Teams that have surprised Onslaught so far. Ambition could be another team that we would see the two of them maybe pairing up later on if they both make it into the top 16 or into the top 8. It could be one of those two moving forward here. Thoughts on DreamHack so far?
Yeah, always a cool event. Obviously, it's a little bit different vibe being in the home territory as compared to Sweden. A lot more, I guess, spacious, I would say, in the sense of like there's room to walk around and like.
How have you guys enjoyed the event so far?
Yeah, like sitting in the crowd and stuff.
Just
like
the event in general.
I watched from the crowd last venue, and it's like compared to the one in Sweden, like Sweden definitely has a different vibe. Like people are there to play on their PCs, not really watch tournaments. Here we're getting a different vibe. Like the crowd's packed behind us. Like everybody is filled.
Yeah, there's a lot of people here. It's great.
So it's fantastic to see that people are coming out and just supporting to watch rather than just like I want to play. So
yeah, Chiefs, I know you guys didn't make it out to the Sweden DreamHack, but you've been to PAX East. You've been to other sorts of events. How are you enjoying DreamHack so far?
This one is actually my very first, like, outside of TwitchCon, my first, like, big gaming convention. So it's a lot of fun. Like you said, it's a lot of really cool stuff out there. It's H1Z1, a bunch of other games in the free play arena. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
Something I really like about these all ground floor events is that everybody's playing on the same field, and that means that your players that you idolize or your teams that you idolize are just walking around in the convention center.
Yeah.
You know, you can run into your favorite, Rocket League player or your favorite CS:GO player, and you can just say what's up to them. I really like that about DreamHack.
I mean, you saw Mewtwo King and Hungry Box, two of the Smash gods, yesterday in the airport, didn't you?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Those guys, someone that you've been watching for a really long time, and they're just like, yep, we're here.
They're just standing there.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. I forget who was saying it, too, when we were out before game started. And he literally saw, like, one of his favorite players, and he just goes, I love you. Like, and just unconditionally, he's just like, cool. And the guy, like, walked away. Like, that's great, man. I'm going to run this way while you do that.
One of the things I love about this event that was different from Sweden is all of the stages for the esports event are all on the same wall.
Right.
So you walk in and you can see every single event that's happening at the same time. And it's really cool just to see that equality. You'll see the people just kind of walking down, just watching all the esports at once, And it's just this very, very cool, almost old school MLG style feel. Yeah. Especially when you go over to the Halo guys and they're like actively playing out in their kind of front arena that's not on the stage. And they all have the coaches kind of walking behind them, and there's like lines of people around just watching the matches that aren't being broadcast, being played. Really cool, just like esports hub here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing about our practice area, too, is it's in the middle of the floor right behind us. So the ability for people to actually walk by as these guys are playing their other matches that aren't on stream, and you get that feeling of like, this is a LAN. And we compare ourselves to the Smash community. We're very grass-fed in the sense of
grass-fed.
We're organic here.
We are cattle.
I mean, we did have, what was the cow nose?
Cow nose,
so maybe, But yeah, I mean, in the sense, like, it's very organic in the sense that everybody is able to just walk around and huddle about their favorite teams and just watch. And it's adding a little bit of pressure that some of these players may not have been used to. Like, obviously, I forget how you said it, your jammies back at home.
Right, yeah. You might even not be wearing anything at all when you're playing at home. I'm not going to judge.
Well, that's a little too personal for us.
You never know.
Thanks for that weird image.
Nope, they have some. There's some cool booths out there. There's a barbecue pit down on that end. I don't know if they actually have the pit here, but they have like a barbecue joint that I definitely want to try. I did eventually try the Tex-Mex in Sweden, for those of you who watch the Swedish thing, and it was better than I expected. It was actually not bad.
Oh, I'm surprised your expectations, because you're pretty like strict about your home food.
They did serve it with corn and cucumbers, and the tortilla was actually a pita bread, but other than that, the meat was actually well seasoned and good ground beef, good Tex-Mex beef. So I have to. This is going to become a new thing. Just trying all of the cuisines of DreamHack.
Yeah, and of course, coming back to Rocket League, not only do we have this, we've got the BYOC tournament as well for that. So there's plenty going on all throughout. There's the main event, everybody in the crowd having a good time. So DreamHack, always a lot of fun to come back to.
Yeah, see all the lovely faces. This is the one thing that with the DreamHack in Sweden, the stage was a bit off to the side, and so there were definitely people who showed up and were watching. It was great to see the people who were there, but there's so many more people here watching right now, and I'm really enjoying all the people in the crowd. That guy's not having a good time.
Either is his buddy.
There we go. He's probably an Onslaught fan.
Oh.
Sad to see them get beaten by NRG.
Oh, was it Dylan was Husky's buddy that brought him here? Like I
Press
walked by. Yeah, Prestard. If you guys don't know him, he's repping Cloud9. He also is the graphics guy for RLCS.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's very, very true.
He's talented. Hit him up.
He's repping the orc he wants to see get into Rocket League the most.
He's also a partner L'Oreal. He's sponsored by L'Oreal, I've heard.
He's worth
Oh,
it.
really? Yeah. Maybe it's a baby line. I don't know.
Nice flip. He's been working on that all week.
Yep. I gotta give a shout out also to our sponsors here, HyperX, Twitch Sonics, and DreamHack as well for helping make this event happen. Great to see the support here. I talked about it last time because they were a sponsor in Sweden as well, but I love HyperX's stuff. Legitimately, if the next time I'm buying a keyboard, I'm buying their other keyboard, the red one with the mechanical.
Yeah, we got to use them the first time at like RLCS.
Yeah, which is, I mean, we all play with controllers on Rocket League, so like the keyboard is not as big of a deal, but still, I was like, this is so nice.
You type in matches quite a bit, you know. You got to
That's
get into
true.
those
That's
games,
true.
and it just feels so
You
good.
type like a monster too.
I do.
You type at like 80 words per minute or something. 90 words per minute.
Keep going.
Oh my god,
100
you're
words
kidding.
per minute.
Keep going.
110, 100, 200.
Okay.
Okay.
140 maybe.
He's insane.
140.
He's
Wow.
insane.
I don't even know how fast I type. It's nothing close to that.
Like at a certain point, it feels like it just doesn't help anymore. You're like, why do you type that? I don't know. Like, sketch a couple words. But I used to have buddies that would make me do their papers. Like if we had to write papers and stuff, it's like, this is gonna take me 2 hours. I'm like, give me 15 minutes. It'll be one second. I got this.
Okay, so we heard from Jacob earlier while we're waiting for some stuff to get figured out. And he's very, very confident NRG is going to make it all the way to the finals. He's had some great smack talk for all his opponents. Who do you guys think is going to, assuming NRG makes it, who are they playing against right now in the finals?
I'll start. My big three, and I think they're the big three titans of EU, Envious, Flipside, and Gale Force. Those
So
teams,
not mock it.
Yeah, so those three teams to me are teams that I think are a level above most. And are the only ones that can compete against each other. Until last week, we saw NRG's like, like we're part of that tier 2. So it's going to be an EU org, in my opinion. It's just a matter of which one plays their best today.
Really? So no. How do you guys feeling about G2 and Rogue right now?
I have to see how they play because, I mean, obviously they both put up fantastic performances out at the X Games. I mean, Miho struggled a little bit on day number 1, came back day number 2, did a phenomenal job. And of course, they even played with Torment, who's on the Muffin Men squad here today. So with Timmy back in the lineup, the old school weekend warriors, we all like to call them, it'll be interesting to see them back in full speed.
Man, I'm realizing, I'm sitting there thinking back on LANs we've had in Rocket League. We have never, I believe we have never had a North America versus North American final when a European team was present.
No, we have not.
Nope. I think that's the thing, that's still a
why
possibility.
I said what I did.
It's a fair bet to think that the Europeans will make it there. If it's not a European team, if we're having our first North American versus North American final, who you guys have to go with right now? I realize you just said we have to see G2 and Rogue play, and the Muffin Men are probably also
one of those 4.
One of those 3,
Safe
probably.
bet. Well done.
Yeah.
I would honestly have to say probably NRG and Muffin Men if I had to pick 2 North American teams to make it all the way to finals. The Muffin Men actually had a very, very good performance in the previous Astro tournament.
They've had a lot of success in Astro
exactly. And I would say the only asterisk there is that they are not land tested, whereas NRG is. And that's where I might give advantage to a team like Rogue that has been traveling and playing consistently in these tournaments, and maybe this is just like their time to shine.
I mean, that's the crazy thing about it too, is I mean, if you talk about all these guys, how many lands and how many events they played, there's been 3 physical lands over the course of just like a couple days over a month. And these guys have been traveling to every single one, Rogue being one of them. So that kind of experience really pays dividends for them. Yeah,
this is really when it starts to become. I remember Shogun at the beginning. I think it was the very first match of the season 2 finals or of our LCS when it was in Amsterdam, and we were seeing like NRG, and he's like, now they haven't performed very well on the LAN, but we've only had one whole LAN, so like it's not that much to say. And we are getting to the point now where we have players who legitimately are spending more time playing Rocket League in a LAN environment than they are spending sleeping in their own beds at home. And these guys are really getting to a point where this is home to them. They are more home here than they are.
I mean, you want to look
house.
back at like history of Rocket League. Can you imagine us getting to a point where players are actually going to be spending more time traveling and going to events rather than in their own beds? Like, that's just baffling to me.
As a grass-fed community, it's exciting to see. Sure.
I mean, James earlier said he hasn't been home for more than 4 days over the past month or so. So
yeah.
I mean, that's very much a possibility.
Moving around quite a bit. I would love, moving conversation back to kind of meta talk, I would love to see a G2 versus NRG finals for a very specific reason. I've kind of always had this headcanon about NRG and G2, that NRG are the best at Rocket League right now as far as the old school style of reactionary play, of watching watching what your opponent does and being like, what's the best thing I can do with the ball right now? And Jacob is just perfection at figuring out, oh, let's just push the ball this way, let's push the ball that way. G2, on the other hand, is perfecting this new style of intentional play, of let's pass the ball backwards, let's push this particular player forward. And when we've seen those two teams clash, it feels like a very distinct clash of old meta versus new meta.
Well, for me, I've actually talked about this quite a bit on my own time, but I actually think NRG and G2 are technically the same team with their play styles. And if you ever want to ask me about that, do it. Hit me up on Twitter or something, and I'll talk about it. But I'm not going to do it here because it looks like
that is an optic gaming hat.
Ooh,
yeah, man.
Foreshadowing.
Talk about orgs I would love to see in Rocket League. That'll never happen. The exclusively shooting game organization, Optic Gaming, the green wall. But Ambition versus Last Airbenders. I believe we're getting pretty close to getting this one underway. Both these teams trying to make it into the round of 16 right now.
Yeah, we talked obviously earlier, just to kind of rehash everything. Ambition probably going to be the favorite here. They have the player with the most LAN experience out of all of them, and being Prime Thunder, also being the youngest. Pepe, who used to be a big demo player, now moving into a more aggressive play style. And even though Wonder's a little bit quiet, he's actually kind of that quiet third. He reminds me in the sense of, if anybody's ever watched him, like Violent Panda, where he's not, he doesn't get all the credit, but he's always there to enable his teammates.
Yeah, I mean, talking about strong backed men, strong third players in the rotation.
We're making stuff up. Just
strong sweepers.
Flip side, I mean, of course, you have to talk about Cooks here in that position. So, I mean, he's a little less quiet. He puts up a bit more of an offensive showing, but third player, definitely not a position you can overlook, because Jacob plays a very strong third man as well. He sits a lot of time in the midfield, gives a lot of second chances over the NRG guy. So,
which is one of the fun things we've seen as well as our rosters have continued to deepen here. You talked about Cookster, you talked about Jacob, who have both been thirds, but as of Season 3, they really were more functioning as the ones, as we had Greasy Meister and Garrett G really filling in those thirds on their respective rosters. And when you start to get people who are perfecting one slot and then moving into another position and then perfecting that position as well, you start to get really, really deadly players and really, really lethal teams.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff. But for us, we have the team that we just don't really know about, and obviously it's hard to speculate. The one that we only really do know is Trut with the 3. For the Last Airbenders. I'm just curious to see on how they're going to handle this. I mean, a lot of the times, teams that have difficulty in LAN experiences do play very defensive just because they don't want to make mistakes. And you see it actually favor teams that just don't care. They're like, you know what? No hesitation, let's just go all at it, because it catches people off guard.
Yeah, Prime Thunder has always been one of those players. He normally plays on the dominance as well.
He's the one in the middle there.
Yeah, in the middle right there, the young gun, if you will, the most probably experienced player on the stage. Always plays super aggressive and super flashy, especially on the wall. I think he took a lot of lessons from Pluto in the very early days. They were start buddies, if I recall correctly. But look for him to be playing on the wall and being very fast in the air, something he's very, very well known for. You may not have heard of him because he's never made an RLCS season, but I believe his team has actually come within round of 16 or that qualifying match. A couple of times, like multiple times. So he's just on the cusp, actually.
And we'll see if they can pull off the victory here. I think, looking at these two teams, the thing I'm going to be looking for is which team can they get midfield offensive rotation going, and if they can't, can they at least keep the defensive contention going at the midfield, which is what we talked about a lot with the last game as well with Onslaught versus NRG. That midfield 50-50 game, so critical, and if you can move it up to where your third player is rotating on the mid boost and on the midfield line, that's when you can see a team really start to tear away. To me, the victory is going to go to the team that's able to get that going.
Yeah, for me, it's a matter of whoever leads first in that aggression, whoever can basically put on the pace and control it themselves. The only difficulty that is with all the players, as I mentioned, do play very defensive. They're just waiting for a counterattack opportunity. So they may allow you to purposely play that offensive side just so they can wait for one mistake to clear it downfield and get an open net. We see it time and time again against some of these lower level teams that are bubble teams. And Ambition, as long as they're aware of that, shouldn't have that problem. But that's the opportunity I think Last Airbender should go for.
Well, do you think that plays into Prime Thunder's favor then? Because Prime Thunder, of course, we talked about he plays plenty of ones, and I mean, your only option in ones is either wait for them to do something or you do something. And offense, or to me, in Rocket League, fortune favors the offensive, and you have to win that ones game pushes you forward a little bit.
So you mentioned this, Fickle, on that Prime Thunder mostly plays a Dominus. And one interesting thing we saw in the last match, while we wait for the match to get going here, Onslaught, playing with no Octanes, playing playing a breakout, a Dominus, and a Plank car, which is 3 different types of cars as well, as far as hitboxes go. It's really interesting to see the different things that come. And they were going up against Jacob as well, who is notorious for playing literally anything he wants. So the car meta, always an interesting thing to watch what these players choose to pick.
Yeah, I mean, Husky mentioned as the reason why he played the Breakout is it just feels great in the air. It's the same reason why Espion's favorite car has always been the Breakout. It's one of those things that, like, even though there is very subtle differences and they're not as noticeable as some, we'll see how it pays off here.
Indeed, and finally into the first match here, another best of 3, and starts off with a very strong clear from Trut, powers it all the way across the field, wants the top right. It'll be just wide, and Sparks early on for this Ambition Last Airbenders match, and there's a nice solid fake. Wonder through 2, and actually his teammate came and took it away, and Wonder's like, why, my friend? Thankfully, Pepe out of the midfield there for the follow-up. First one to Ambition.
A bit of a mistake coming out from Ambition, as I believe Wonder had that open net to just take it from him and gets completely blindsided by his teammate. They still end up scoring, so all smiles on their end, but definitely not a good look if the other team is on top of their game.
We'll see how things fare this time around. Trut able to power them forward the first time onto the blue half. This time falling in favor of Wonder again. This one just wide. Slow shot should be no problem for Sneaky, and the offense will stay on this orange side for Ambition. Looking pretty solid so far in the first 45 seconds. Able to keep Last Airbenders boxed in. Wonder wants 2, nobody there to follow up. Limited boost, and they will have to concede a little bit of position out of the midfield, but they're playing so fast.
Yeah, Wonder to me is going to be that player to watch. Ooh, almost gets it there from Prime Thunder. I talked about Prime Thunder using Dominance, and he's actually on an Octane. Now I feel like I'm an embarrassed person. But he's on the Octane this game, and it seems like everybody on Ambition is also on the Octane. But Wonder is really that, that Wonder for me. I've not really seen him on a team before. Pepe and Prime Thunder I've at least heard of and seen before, but Wonder might be one of those ladder players that is really good on ladder, but maybe not tested in tournaments, so we'll see.
Well, to be fair, we didn't hear anything about Black Magic, and he performed quite well in the Brace for Impact Onslaught match. And right now, it's a fairly tight affair. This one on the open net, and hello, Wonder caught out of position.
And Wonder going for the 100% boost on the side there, and a little bit of a missed hand. the crowd is cheering from out there. They went for the fist bump high five mix up, 50-50, yes. And they both lost.
They both lost indeed. As this one kicked off, Wonder a little bit of time to work with here. Just elects to keep this one close. Solid pass out of the midfield. They want a pinch and a beautiful clear out of the Ambition side as Prime Thunder works his magic, and it works out. They go end to end in a matter of seconds.
We saw this from Trut and I believe the last Airbenders in the first 5 seconds of this game. But if you intentionally pinch it off of your own teammate in the defensive end, you create monstrous power onto the other side of the field. And I feel that there's this meta shifting towards that, where the defense is getting so good at stopping you from, clearing the ball. And you're playing offense, but you're like keeping the ball in, that you have to like create really, really, really big clears, or else you're never going to get out of the defensive side.
Yeah, and that pinch is so formidable just because there's a level of unpredictability. What a solid defensive effort from Wonder there. Doesn't panic with the guy coming down right over his shoulder and just dribbles it cleanly across his own net. Trut trying to go for the setup and shut down almost immediately, but this is really the first time we've seen Last Airbenders have a chance to be on the offense here in this best of 3, and at least they're starting to go the right direction. Prime Thunder just going to buy plenty of time for Pepe back on his own half to get nice and ready for this clear coming right at him.
That is a nice looking car from Pepe as well. I believe he has
Buzzkill.
I think he has a, is that painted?
Yeah, painted Buzzkill.
That is a purple. Very nice decal there for Ambition. There's so many opportunities to customize your car in Rocket League, and I'm so sad that the pros never take that to their advantage. They're always just like, no toppers, always Gold Rush boost. Wonder's going to score another goal, and it gives Ambition the 2-goal lead.
Yeah, things getting a little bit out of hand there. People kind of just splitting off for boost all at the same time. Nobody really aware that, hey, Ambition is still kind of on offense, and they all just got so strapped for the empty gas tank that they just kind of left the net wide open. So they'll have to figure that out moving forward. This kickoff now in favor of Ambition, just missing his Prime Thunder. He will swipe out that orange corner boost and return to defense. Stay Fly will steal the blue side on the other end, and actually the middle boost as well. And I've always said stealing that middle boost is so important because it really limits how quickly you can move up the field.
And even when you're trying to break out of your own end, if your 2 corner boosts have been stolen from you, nice shot there from Wonder. That is a hat trick from the unproven player on the stage.
Yeah, a hat trick from Wonder, and also a playmaker from Prime Thunder. He's got 3 assists as well.
Very nice read there from the defense as well. He took the defensive positioning on the sidewall, which is a very aggressive way to position because you know that teams are going to want to clear it off to the side and probably high as well. So if you're preemptively up on the wall, just like Wonder was, you're able to get a very nice angle down to the goal. And he takes clear advantage of that with a rocket of a shot.
My mistake. Prime Thunder has 4 assists, not 3. But now he's charged with getting this clear, and Trut just shuts him down, says we're staying on the blue half. They'd like to get 1 more and give themselves a minute to at least put 2 into the back of the net, because 3 in under a minute, very tall order to fill. And overall, the offense out of the midfield has just been so strong from Ambition. They really don't let airbenders move down into their own half without having a fairly weak opportunity at the offensive side. And I wonder what's causing that.
Ooh, missed there from Prime Thunder, but Pepiopi is going to find his first goal of the game. I wonder if the miss here from Prime Thunder is actually going to create that. Yeah, it looked like the member of last Airbenders was expecting a shot off of the wall or maybe near it in positioning like that. Ball runs through, and Pepiopi is just going to latch onto that and put it right into the net. 5-1 for Ambition, looking exactly like how the desk was preparing it to be. Last Airbenders probably not going to come back into this game so far, and Wonder with that is 4 goals on this game for him, and we're actually pretty close to a Brazil.
Very close to a Brazil. We will be heading into our 8th kickoff here after this replay finishes. And game 1, well, that's a little bit of a wake-up call if you're the last Airbenders. I mean, you know they're good, but you're hoping to keep it a little bit closer than this.
You would think that Airbenders actually have a little bit more control in the air than what is being shown right now. Ooh, save the Brazil. I mean, at least you didn't get...
Oh, you're kidding. I was about to say, how about a little bit more control from that one as this one turned away by Wonder. A solid defensive effort out of the blue net. Prime Thunder through 1, goes through 2 as well. It's going to be just out of reach for both the other members. However, it is a weak clear. Truck going to get slammed into the net, able to recover. A clutch save to save that all-critical 7-1 scoreline one more time. And the final 8 seconds count down. Ambition are just going to cruise into game number 2. They got to be feeling good after their performance here in game 1.
Last Airbenders playing for nothing but pride. Hopefully they take the 40 seconds or so between this match to go over how they're going to celebrate when they score. As the last time they did, they only got 1 chance at it, and it looked a little bit unpracticed. I
mean, what can you do? My preferred celebration method is the wiggle. The gas and brake.
The turbo pulsa, right?
Yeah. That's my preferred method. But you see there on your screen, they're going to be figuring out how do they want to advance. Ambition, calm, cool, collected. They have to be feeling good. A solid 6-1 win. Prime Thunder, 4 assists. Wonder, as you said, 4 goals. I mean, there's that 5. 1, 2, 3. No, I counted correctly. 4 goals for Wonder. So he showed up in a big way here.
Really, really impressed from him, honestly, as he was kind of the player I was looking for and did not disappoint. If they have another performance just like that, they're going to be cruising through the groups. I believe the other notable team in this group other than Ambition is going to be Envious. So if Ambition wants any chance of moving on, so there's 4 teams in the group and 2 advance into the next group portion, my money's on Ambition and Envious, but this is a pretty important game because it's going to be one of those wins that you really need to get, because I don't think Ambition is going to stand a chance against Envious.
Yeah, I mean, you would like to move cleanly on into your next portion of these pool play, and if you're last Airbenders, you say, all right, 1 more and we're not feeling very good, so they need to really rally. What do you think last Airbenders moving into the second game have to turn around to get themselves going in the right direction?
I think they just need to relax a little more and actually go for some aggressive plays. There was that one play they almost had where he chipped it back up to him while in the air. That's what I want to see from players on the stage, because I know they go for very risky stuff like that in ladder all the time. Why not do it on the stage? Like,
have some fun, baby.
The fear of losing is hindering the fact that you have to play aggressive, and that's exactly what they're feeling. They're like, oh man, we just need to get back into rotations, and we need to hit the ball clears, and boring, and there's no like raw offense coming from these teams.
Well, we've moved on into game number 2, and it started off fairly well. It's a race, and Pepiopi gets the power on it.
There we go. Nice, clean celebration there from Prime Thunder. Nothing too fancy, and a beautiful pass as well, catching it from the bottom side of his car to lightly drop it down. Sometimes you want to go for sometimes your first inclination when you're receiving a ball in the midfield is to just redirect it onto net. But a lot of the times you can generate a more fierce shot by laying it down to your teammate who has more momentum than you coming towards the net, and that's how Ambition scores. Looking good in game number 2.
Soft tap down from Stay Fly. Unable to find the clear as this one kept out of the net by Sneaky. Prime Thunder wants it himself. Second touch going to be just wide, and only 30 or so seconds elapsed here in game number 2. And after that good start from last Airbenders, and they would like a second opportunity at that one as it finds its way just off the back wall of the last Airbenders. It's now once again back onto this Ambition half. Prime Thunder patiently out of the corner. It's a nice long clear from him. Big miss from Sneaky, and they're going to have to go all the way back down. And hopefully they can recover as Trut needs a little bit of boost as well. Missed challenge. It's a 1-on-2, and that's a great challenge from Stayfly to really get out there in front of it, shut down as much of the angles as you can.
How did that ball get through every member of the last? That was a lot of mistakes coming in. Ooh, Prime Thunder had this shot on the net. Just barely clipped it on the bottom left post. A goal that most likely should have gone in. It should be 2-0 at this point. But last Airbenders have less than, whoa, that was a crazy pinch off of the floor there. But the last Airbenders defense is just pretty poor in these last couple of games.
Oh my goodness, just off their own post, and boy has the woodwork come out to play for the last Airbenders here. Ambition have rattled shot after shot, high, wide, and still nothing able to find its way into the back of the net. So if you're last Airbenders, you're like, well, at least it's still 1-0, but you really need to break this out of your own half somehow. The defensive midfield pressure is so strong right now out of Ambition. It feels like they've been boxed into their half for at least a minute, and finally they get out onto the blue side. Now we'll see how long they can keep it there, and they should have an opportunity here. Trut leaves it for Sneaky, and unfortunately that ball is cleared right at Wonder. A beautiful read up on that side wall.
That was the exact same positioning he was at in the first game, and they're not really thinking about these clears coming through. Wonder trying to race to the ball, gets control of it, and flicks it up, and that is going to be a goal. Excellent control from Wonder. Man, he sees this ball scrambling in the midfield, and he's just got wide eyes.
And it's a really nice job. You said control, and it's always so important not to rush those touches, because you've got what you know is an open net off to your left side, and you say, all I have to do is get around this and power this one in. And he says, you know what? If I try and do that, I'm not going to get the shot that I really want. Takes his time with it. Very underrated skill, taking your time when you know you have a good opportunity in front of you.
Yeah, the first touch right there is very difficult to get on the top of your car, especially when you're approaching it at like a 45-degree angle. But what you want to do is you want to drive past the ball, power drift or power slide into it, and then catch it on the side of your car so it pops up on you, and then you get the immediate flick afterwards. So that takes a little bit of practice to come through in a pretty technical maneuver on the side of Wonder. And now they're up 2-0 in the game, and they already have one game on the match.
Just under 2 minutes remaining now. Wonder again tries to go around that last defender. Trut doing a nice job staying right with that close touch. It's very easy to commit too early for a touch like that and just get beat. Sneaky able to keep this on the blue half, and out of boost cannot continue the challenge. Off the sidewall, Pepiopi. Sneaky gonna shut that one down, and once again out into the blue side. As the game has gone on, the last Airbenders have started to find more and more opportunities over on this blue half as Pepiopi has to make a tough save. Wonder, that's a weak clear, and they should be very thankful that nobody there from last Airbenders to follow up. They've only got about a minute remaining, and they can still do this. They just have to put one into the net relatively soon. Time becoming a factor.
And I really don't think so. They haven't had any offense coming whatsoever. I've only seen maybe one good attempt for the side of the last Airbenders. It's been pretty much the ambition and pretty much the Wonder show as well, as he's scored, I think, what, 5 out of the 8 goals that that Ambition has had. So 45 seconds remaining, and last Airbenders look no closer to scoring any goals in this particular game, as it's still in control of Ambition.
What a pass upfield from Wonder. Unfortunately, Prime Thunder not able to connect, and this one just going to bounce harmlessly across that orange net. Trut, no boost, it's a tough play. He is able to square it up, and unfortunately Wonder stays right with it, cuts one down and says, wide open net, thank you very much, and he'll take it himself.
I wonder if he actually wave dashed here. I have to see it again, because he hopped up in the air to get behind the ball.
I don't think so. I think he's just landed.
Yeah, I couldn't actually tell if he actually gained any speed, because he was pretty close to supersonic. But that actually is a very high mechanical play, that if you don't have boost and you're behind the ball like that, if you wave dash forward, you can get actually supersonic in time to reach the ball. I'll have to actually ask him if he did or didn't. It's pretty hard to tell. But Ambition, regardless, on the backs of Wonder, are going to take this game 2-0. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, Wonder, a brilliant offensive performance. That's 6 out of 9, so just 2/3. And hello, there's no time on the clock. They get a consolation goal.
All right, we saw the fist bump they chose to use as their celebration. At least they were able to decide on one of them. And they spared us the final kickoff because they scored at 0 seconds. So everybody wins except for the last Airbenders. Ambition is going to be getting that win in their group in an excellent performance from Wonder, who was the player to watch for me.
Yeah, of course, and you saw there just at the end, kind of a little bit of a glimpse of Pepe Open. We talked about him being a physical player. 29 bumps, was awarded the Enforcer tag, so a very nice showing out of him as well. So Wonder and Prime Thunder get things done on the offensive side of things, and last Airbenders, I mean, just didn't really have the offensive or the defensive presence to really clear it out.
All right, we're going to kick it back over to Wave on the desk and see what their thoughts were about that game.
Thanks so much, Pickle. The game going about as we expected. Probably the most one-sided series we've seen. Not probably, the most one-sided series we've seen so far today. And the Ambition squad just coming out here, almost getting the shutout there in game 2 until a last-second goal goes in. They won't get a shutout in either game 1 or 2. But here, Ambition living up to exactly what we were expecting.
Yeah, kind of as predetermined. Obviously, Pepe Op doing as many bumps as he was. Wonder for me, though, was a big surprise, obviously. That we talked about, you know, how he could be a quiet third. He wasn't quiet at all that series, having 5 out of the 8 goals for their team. And they just got better as time went on. They started a little bit slower in that first game, and by the second game, like, you could tell they really had the win.
Yeah, Ambition going to come out there very, very strong. Last Airbenders had some good-looking moments, but generally completely outplayed here by Ambition. I know you were watching, Quinn. Give me your thoughts on this match.
I really thought that Ambition just kind of completely in every aspect of the game outclassed them. We did see some shining moments from the last Airbenders. They had one goal where they almost had that
double pass.
Yeah, that double pass into the midair. Wow, that was going to be incredible. I was hoping for it, but I mean, it was a good game, but Ambition just totally on another level.
Yeah, and Ambition, we were looking at the pool that they're in here. They have Envious in their pool as well. And then the Ballers, I believe, was the name of the other squad. The Notorious Ballers is the name of the 4th team in their group. So 3 teams that have that are around the same area that we don't know much about them, or that they're going to be having to play against each other. Envious probably kind of a shoe-in to get in. So that second spot here in this group up for grabs right now. Ambition looking in a very, very good place though to take that one at this moment. And we have Prime Thunder here on the line. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. How did you feel about that win?
It was a lot better than the first time we played them. We were actually like passing and stuff.
So you'd play that squad before?
Yeah, we only beat them 2-1. In game 3 went to overtime. It was close.
Was that here or was that at a previous event?
That was here.
That was here? Okay, cool. Well, yeah, you guys haven't had that whole match completely in control. Walk me through the match from you guys' perspective. Was there any point you were worried or anything?
The only time I was really worried was the beginning, because the first series was pretty close, but once we got like the lead and we had the momentum, I thought it would be fine.
Fantastic. And have you guys played Envious yet so far?
Yeah, we lost to them 2-0.
Okay, so this was a big win for you guys then, because assuming that Envious is going to be going through all the way is the other 3 squads that are going to be playing for that number 2 spot. So looking forward, hoping you're going to make it into the group of 16 at this point. And other aspirations for this tournament. How are you feeling right now here at DreamHack?
I mean, today, I'm not like proud of my play, except for on stage. I played a lot better than I was in the previous 2 series that we played in, because I only got like 2 hours of sleep last night, because it was my first time playing.
Gotcha.
And I had a huge headache.
Yeah, okay.
But
Good to know you're feeling better. How does it, I guess for you, obviously you're one of the younger competitors here. What's that experience like? Obviously your perspective's going to be a little bit different than some of the older guys.
Prime, how old are you first?
I'm 15.
15, okay.
Okay, so
Go
you're
ahead.
like the perfect age to get into RLCS.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's it like? I mean, obviously being a little bit younger, I mean, you get a little bit more time to gain that experience. Plus,
Yeah.
we talked about how you're a SARP vet as well.
Yeah. I used to play SARP a lot when I was younger, actually. I stopped playing it like 2 or 3 years before Rocket League came out, because I got into like PC gaming and League of Legends, but I don't know. And then it's like easier to balance the Rocket League and my real life stuff, because I don't have to have like a job and stuff.
That is handy dandy for sure.
Trying to make Rocket League that job and stuff, huh?
Is this your first DreamHack?
Yeah.
How have you liked the event so far?
I'm liking it so far a lot.
Yeah. It's a really, really cool thing to get to come out and compete. So you guys going to look forward to getting into the round of 16. Before I let you go, any shout-outs you got for anybody?
Gearbox for messaging me before we went on stage on
Fantastic.
Discord, saying that he was rooting for us.
Fantastic. You guys had some fans out in the crowd. We heard this crowd's been nice and loud all day, so it's always fun to get to play in front of the crowd. So thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us, and good luck at the rest of DreamHack.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Prime Thunder, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, Cerberus Esports is going to be taking on Genesis. I've never seen this Cerberus Esports team before, so I'm excited to see them. Genesis, though, a name that we're all familiar with. I'll get Quinn's thoughts on Genesis. He's got quite the history with them. We'll have all of that and more when we come back to DreamHack Atlanta.